Hello, and thank you so much for being here with us today. I am Arlena Jones, and you are watching the Intervene Show. I have my two special, very wonderful guests. I have my brother Leon, my co-host and partner in crime, and then I have Bill Lindemann from behind the scenes. Our camera director decided to come back out to the public to do his part two. Bill, I'm actually going to pass you the mic and let you, introduce what the part two means for those who was not able to see the first episode that we all came together to discuss what plans you have for our community outreach and building and legacy unitedness and initiative that you're producing for the city of Kalamazoo.
But before we go, who's the goals operating a TV show right now? Since you're a producer, just curiosity.
What?
Who operating the show since you are here? You are producer.
Nobody. The cameras are all set.
Oh,
There's
okay.
one camera that's set for all of us,
Okay, well,
and it just stays on until he turns it off.
okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we can just call this part one.
Okay, this is the official part one.
Yeah, basically.
All
yeah.
right.
The previous show was more, just a
Prelude.
a first start.
Okay.
I've always been interested in neighborhoods, and neighborhoods should be places where people are happy and where they could grow. Uh, basically, the three basic units of society are the individual, the family, and the immediate community. And I grew up in a really peaceful community, but it had other problems that at the time I didn't realize, like racism, and those things were built into it, which I didn't even realize. But for many people, communities are really, well, first of all, they come from dysfunctional families, and then the neighborhood is dysfunctional. So, what chance have you got to lead a productive life? Almost none. And there's a way we can change that. There's a way, and I've been trying to find out a way that it can be done. An interesting thing, David Brooks, who's a columnist and writer he wrote written quite a few books about human life and human relationships. He's been saying recently that cultural change comes when a small group of people find a better way to live, and then people imitate that way. But it's always a small group of people. In fact, Margaret Mead, the anthropologist, is the one that's usually credited with that statement, but it comes from before her. For instance, the best example would be early Christianity. It was a small group of people that found a better way to live. And that I use that as a model.
Okay,
And
Bill.
yeah,
Where did you grow up from?
Chicago,
Chicago? Was it like South Side?
South Side, yeah.
Near Carpenter Street? Where?
You have to have a microphone,
Oh,
Leon, in order for the people to hear you.
well,
The
Oh, that's a
people.
good point, yeah.
no, Bill was talking.
Well, he adjusted his. Oh, take.
Favorites, damn favoritism. Anyway,
Well, I want everybody to be heard.
I know. Anyway, you grew up on
Well, Carpenter Street is some.
because we have family on Carpenter Street. Though.
Yeah, it's relatively close. It's a couple neighborhoods away.
You from So you near that area?
Well, the south side, southwest side. Yeah, Carpenter is in the
Oops,
southwest side.
excuse me, Bill. Sorry about that.
All right, Bill. Did they have anything like what you discussed in now, like a community event where everyone gathered together? Did they have a lot of that where
People
you?
are always trying,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem is it tends to be swallowed up by the people around them. There's a Catholic church in the southwest side called Saint Sabina. And his father Flager, who's very well known. There was a movie made about him called Chirac by Spike Lee.
Call what again?
It's called Chirac.
How you spell that?
CHI-RAQ, like Iraq, but Chicago.
Oh, okay. So it's a
Chirac.
CHI. Chirac. Okay.
And he appears as the narrator at the beginning, but he's played by John Cusack in the movie, and Spike Lee made it.
Okay, sure, I can look that up.
And it's based on a Greek play, and it's really a remarkable movie.
Did that kind
But
of
he's trying. He's done a really good job of changing his neighborhood. Instead of, what happened is at one point all the white people in the community, it was a huge parish. All of them left, almost all of them immediately,
Mm,
and it was replaced by blacks. And of course, all the continuity was broken. Nobody would lend any money.
yeah.
It's just a disaster.
what year were we
It's called
talking? What year
it's
were we
called
talking about?
redlining.
Redlining. What year are we talking about this in Chicago? Okay.
This
Re-
would be early '60s, I would say. Early '60s.
And were you part of ever the? Were you ever like part of the unity level where they all gathered together? Like, was there? Were you part of a community back then that tried to do what you're doing now, or have you done something like
No,
this?
I mean, what we did was react. I mean, things were happening that were much bigger than any one family or any one small community could change. It was happening not only in a city level but in a national level. Communities were being replaced. It happened, from the Great Migration
Yeah.
of black people from the South, and they were forced to stay in small communities, and eventually,
Projects.
with more people kept coming, they had to break out. And so what happened is,
Had to?
huh?
You said people had to break out?
Yeah, there were too many people in too small an area. Something had to happen. So they started moving family by family into surrounding areas, which were white. And of course, immediately all the white people moved out. What happened is the real estate dealers scared the white people, saying, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lose everything. You better move now. So they scared people into moving out. And then they sold their property at a lower price. And then the black people that moved in, they raised the price.
Wow.
So they paid too much. And this went on over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
And when this video is put up, I'll put links to some books that describe these things as they were happening.
Now this is off the
This
subject.
is yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Man, we gotta get this. I'm looking at your post. Who's that lovely older lady who was just had a birthday on your post? Did she just turn 90? Bill, Bill, why you looking at me like
Yes,
crazy?
Is it our mama?
No, not our mama. Who was that, Bill? Damn,
Because our
Bill.
mama
It was
just
a
turned 90
friend,
too.
Jenna Mamina. I think it was her
The
mother.
thing is, Gina, is
Yeah.
if you see the picture, Lena you just can't help but to.
Oh,
And she,
our mother just turned
she
90.
actually she looked like I seen a lot of moms look like you, dude. That's your family, right? Was that your family?
No,
They wasn't.
just a friend.
Who's the people surrounded by her? I think you was were you
That
any?
was her family.
You're not related because y'all kind of look alike
No,
now.
we're not. That's an Italian family,
What are you?
mostly German.
German
So, yeah.
Ishweishniks.
And they're from
Okay, you don't know German.
they're from St. Joseph, Benton Harbor. Actually,
Okay.
they're from Benton Harbor.
Did I add,
They experienced just what I'm talking about.
really?
Displacement. So this went on universally.
If I had my phone on me, I would have pulled up that picture. I was like, that looked like Bill. Is she still living? I'm not going off.
Yes, yes.
Is she? Yeah. You when you need a chance, show Lena because I wished her to. She said, anyways. It was just something that I'm glad you was
yeah.
associated with people like that. Cause I thought you was already related. Cause I saw some similarities.
Uh-huh.
I'm not lying. I saw similar. Get a chance, show Lena, okay?
All right, sure.
But anyway,
Yeah.
well, okay, Bill. What are you on the show? You're a host. What are you doing, dude? What are you going to want the people to know?
Excuse me. Well, neighborhoods can be improved,
Yes.
but the secret is it's got to be with a small group of people. Again, you can't try and change a whole city at once.
No.
or 10 neighborhoods at once. It just doesn't work. Like in Chicago, it's, you know,
Do
the
you still
number, the
do you
number,
still visit Chicago? You still got
not
people?
much, not much now, no.
No.
But I grew up there. I know
Yeah.
there isn't anything I don't know about it,
Mhm.
you know. But change takes place with a smaller group of people. It's
Mhm.
got to. People that know each other, that see each other through the week, that deal with each other like school, stores, church, restaurant, and so on. And these are people you deal with through the week. And this is the way to affect change if you get a group of people like that. So you're all on, you can all decide to be on the same page. And even people who are not involved with what you're doing will still benefit because again, it's a small group of people which can be controlled. So that's what's important. Um, I first One of the first things that interested me in this, there was an author named John Brownfield, and he came from Ohio near Mansfield, and his father was a farmer, and his father was unsuccessful. He bought and sold some small farms and just never succeeded. But his son became a writer and won a Pulitzer Prize for a book called Early Autumn and a couple others. And at one time he was compared with some of the leading writers, Sinclair Lewis, people of that kind. He was considered one of the leading writers of his time, and he wrote screenplays for Hollywood. So he made a lot of money, and he found he loved the earth, and even though he was raised, they moved to the city. He loved to plant flowers and vegetables, and he became so successful he decided to move to uh, France near Paris, and he bought a little villa next to a stream. And he had some of the biggest names in the world, politicians, movie stars, uh,
So what
came
year
to
were we
his
talking
house.
about? 19 who?
The 30s and 30s, early 30s. But then he saw war was coming to Europe, and so he decided to move back to the United States in the late 30s and bought a farm. One of I guess what was left of his father's original farm or his grandfather's
Is
original
this in
farm.
Ohio we're talking
Yeah,
about? Okay.
uh, yes, near Mansfield, Ohio, Richland County. It's called Pleasant Valley, and what he tried to do is to make a living as a small farmer, not a big time industrial farmer, but a small farmer, and make it. And he did that by trying to replenish the land and keep the ground, keep the soil rich, and renew it by planting row crops. Uh, well, just by intelligent practices, by enriching the land naturally. And he never was, even with his money, he was never really successful at it. He never quite made it. But, and he wrote books about it. And what inspired me was the fact that, it was a beautiful lifestyle. You had roadside stands and, you can enjoy the countryside and that. But it occurred to me this would be an ideal satellite farm for a city community
Hmm.
so that a city communities, a couple of 3 or 4 city communities or more could sponsor a farm locally and subsidize it partially so that a bad year, with bad weather and crops that sometimes don't uh, because of weather, that we have a bad crop, so that they don't go out of business. The idea is to keep it permanent. And this would also be a great place for people in the city to visit and work or live part of the year. So I thought this is great. And when he died in the middle 50s, he friends of his bought the property and eventually sold it to the state of Ohio, and it's now a state park called
Really?
Malabar
Okay.
Farm
So
in Ohio.
is it called John Brownsfield's
No,
Park?
it's called Malabar Farm. That's what he called it. It's from a coast in India that he liked, an area of India.
Now, where is this preserve located? Is it near Dayton or I mean, if you can
Near Mansfield.
Mansfield, how far is that from? Well, hang on, look at the book. Is it near damn it,
It's in the north central Ohio,
North
and it's
Central?
in Richland County. Yeah.
So we're talking about like, is it near Indiana? Close in the corner near Indiana. I mean,
No,
I got a
it's
map book right
north
here.
central Ohio.
North Central.
North
Okay.
central.
I was,
And just incidentally, um, right across the street from the park at one point is a big tree, and that tree was in the movie Shawshank Redemption. When he went to the tree and found buried money, because a local prison that was abandoned nearby was used for the prison in Shawshank Redemption.
which scene you talking about?
Huh?
Which scene are you talking about?
No, it's Malabar Farm.
No. You're talking about Shawshank Redemption. You said there's a big tree.
Yeah, that's right across the street from
No,
property at Malabar
I'm
Farm.
talking about the movie. Where I mean, what was the part when been at
It's
the
at
tree?
the end. It's at the end of the movie.
When he got when you talking about when Mel not Mel Gibson, what's the other cat name? Morgan Freeman, when he opened that little canister.
Yeah.
That was in Ohio?
Yes. It was
Really?
filmed in Ohio.
So
It was actually filmed there. Yeah.
really, I thought it was in.
Well,
You saw the
that's
The
movie?
magic of
still-
Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah.
The magic of movies.
That tree is now gone because it was hit by lightning.
Oh.
It's no longer there.
No, because it was hit by
Oh
lightning.
wow, I should have left it alone. You know,
The rocks and that were there. The rock
Really?
fallen
Wow.
leaves there.
That's near northern Ohio, you said?
In Richland County. If you look up Richland County, the county seat is Mansfield, Ohio,
Mansfield. Okay.
and the state park is called Malabar Farm. You can find that online.
Okay.
I'm gonna put links to all these,
Yeah, do that, man. Okay.
but that gave me the idea of local farms should be linked to cities
Okay.
instead of somebody buying a farm and
Mm.
being completely left up to circumstances and whether they will succeed or not.
Okay.
You can fail so easily when you're on your own, but if you're linked to a larger group of people and subsidized partially, it will last. And if that individual dies, it doesn't matter because others will take their place.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things that really influenced me heavily. But
Okay.
the thing that ties us all together, was unconditional love. Love has to be unconditional.
There you go, Bill.
So when you got a small group of people, you have to have an understanding that no violence, no name calling, none of this pettiness, no bullying. And this can be controlled with a small group of people. This is what's important. Again, with a large group, I don't know how, it's just unmanageable. That's why, there's so much back and forth snipping against conservatives and liberals.
Well,
Conservatives say, liberal policies don't work. Well, they don't work in a large group of people because you can't administer them. Whereas with a small group of people, it works perfectly. That's what the early Christian church was. You know, it was a commune,
Was
communal.
it was still a it was still a designated. There's so many gangs. We're not talking about the Bloods and Crips and and all that. Republicans are gang. The police are gang. The Democrats are gangs. There's a lot of gang activity going on as we speak.
Yeah,
I mean, what you just mentioned right before is kind of like gang related because you mentioned just like everybody into Christianity. Everybody is not into Christianity, but however, they have their
yeah, I
own
know.
beliefs. And the thing, we just said one word that was magical: love. We just gotta love
Yeah,
each other. Man,
conditional
drink what you
love,
gotta
yeah.
do, man. Oh man, it's all about love. Simple as that.
Gangs start when you have dysfunctional families.
Well, gang started. I don't know when gang started before us, Bill. Come on, man.
And not it
That's
has
why
nothing to
look.
do with us. I said dysfunctional families.
And Bill, when you even talk about tribes, dude.
Anytime or anywhere in history, you have dysfunctional families.
Well,
You're
that's
gonna
true
have
too. But
gangs.
when you gather a group of people who feel the same way, you have a immense gang, just like Hitler, the Nazis. Come on, man. One person influenced that many people of hatred. Leopold the third, whatever his name is. You have to have a serious, weak-minded people to follow maniacs and homicidal
Well,
cycles.
this is taken up in my ideas. This is directly addressed. Is that you don't, again, you got a small group of people. You don't allow that kind of person to
Okay,
get
Bill.
power.
That's true
You
too.
know, because they're always outnumbered.
That's true too.
Yeah, one of the insanities of life is why one or two people can tell millions of
Mm.
people to take up arms and kill other people for no
Wow, that's
reason.
deep.
There's never a good reason.
No.
So that's one of the incredible things about life, you know.
Now, Bill, let me ask you, part German. Do you know any German? Ich weiß nichts.
No, I don't.
Did you go to Germany at all?
No, my mother was raised in the language because her parents spoke German.
What part of Germany were they from?
One was from Hanover, and well, my mother's was from the Black Forest region.
Oh, Black Forest. Okay. And your pops was
My father's was from Hanover. That was a different
from where?
story. Hanover.
I thought you said your mom was from Hanover.
I did, but I was mistaken.
Where were your mom was from then? You said Black
She was
Forest.
from the Black Forest. Gerdsbach was the name of the town.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, when you're in Chicago, have you ever visited Maxwell Street?
Yes.
What? For real? Ooh, 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 ooh.
I used to buy records there because
What?
they had old records. You know, they had the old stores. And when I started, there were 78 records.
Oh, for damn, Bill. Okay, damn. For you guys who do not know about Maxwell Street, watch the movie Blues Brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, when everybody was partying, Johnny Lee Hooker and Bow Wow 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 and all that, and Aretha Franklin singing her with her sisters or the
Yeah.
sisters. So,
Okay.
wow.
Aretha Franklin was from Detroit, but she
Yeah.
was just in the movie.
Well, she's from Memphis. She's from Tennessee, but she grew up in Detroit.
Yeah.
But anyway, but no, in the movie Maxwell Street, they did a documentary about Maxwell Street, and oh, Bill, it's so deep. They captured the evangelists, the blues singers. There was a cat with a rooster on his head. They was
Yes, I
barbecuing.
know.
Oh, Lena, they had selling everything. They was praying for everybody. It was like, I'll say it's like heaven. It was like heaven because everyone got along.
And that's what Bill's kind of insinuous, telling how he believes that we could be community to be a representation of what that is.
I think the Maxwell Street was not what I had in mind because that was an old style community. First it was Jewish, then it became black, you know, and
You
it sort of disappeared now because of urban renewal.
Yeah, but that was something that you experienced. Were you often? Can I ask you a personal question? What records were you interested in when you buying records? 78s. I have 78s if you want to look at them. Just to let you know. Well, you can look it online now.
Oh my!
What were you?
I
Did you have a
liked all
favorite?
kinds of music, from the big band music, jazz, the popular
Benny
songs.
Goodman and
Yeah,
Tommy Dorsey, that type.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I grew up. I love that, but I grew up in the
Cab
rock and the
Calloway, Cab
classic
Calloway.
rock era. So I classic rock and R&B.
Okay.
So I grew up with both of those kinds of music.
Now, when did you come to Kalamazoo, Bill?
Oh, late 70s,
Late 70s.
really early 80s. I started living here part time.
Okay.
Early 80s. So it's been more than half my life
Hmm.
at this point.
Now,
I was in my mid 30s when I came here.
okay. Were you part of the Cable Access Center when they were on Crosstown Parkway?
Yeah, that was.
You were?
Yeah, they moved in the year 2000,
Mm.
around 4th of July 2000. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Bill. We probably.
Yeah, right before they moved, I got involved, maybe the
Okay.
year before.
See, Bill and I got some history too, Lena. Corey and Bill and I.
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah.
We did some shows.
Belated Corey.
Huh?
I'd be belated.
All right. Corey's always in the heart.
Yeah, he is.
Actually, me and Corey had a band together.
Okay, but you have to give Corey fun fact is that Corey was legally blind.
Yeah, but
Like Corey being Corey, though it made Corey significantly different than the most average person. Corey was legally blind doing all of these things.
doing everything.
That operating
Technical,
musician,
man.
technical editing. Corey, like you can't leave that out of the
Mhm.
story with Corey because he was a gift, you know.
Yeah, and the thing of it is that uh, it's like a domino effect. I don't know how long you know Corey. Okay, because Corey used to
You
do his.
knew him earlier than I did.
I did.
Yes,
I
you
can't
did.
remember.
You already knew him.
Okay, cause I don't know, cause Corey's already doing shows here,
Yeah.
and then and I was looking at, I saw an old video I bought. It was just, PMM used to have like auctions of videos they used to sell and everything. I don't know if they still don't. I hope they still doing it. You could buy all the old equipment and all that. And I had some videos, some old videos of Corey was on it, and I said, like, one day I'm gonna meet that guy. There's something back in my head. It just so happened there was a film contest,
Yeah.
and just so happened we blend together. And then there's I don't know how I don't know how you guys met, but me and Corey, we had already had our little establishment. Now,
Mhm.
you remember when we went to Indiana? And who did
Yeah.
we see? That's that guy named I keep forgetting his name. We did a show.
Jeremy Morris.
Jeremy Moore. And Corey was crazy about that guy. He loved some Jeremy Morris.
Yeah, we both belong to his church.
Oh, you liked him?
actually.
I mean,
Yes.
he got some good music, man. He should, but anyway.
Yeah, well, I still record him every week.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's phenomenal music. He writes words and music to all his words and music, to his songs, and he records.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple hundred albums. Amazing.
Bill,
Well-
can we kind of go back, just kind of tally back, because we were talking about the community and
Yeah,
the gardening.
yes.
So, like, let's kind of, I wanted to segue back to that a little bit
Yeah.
because you got some notes, and I don't want us to not,
So,
to not hit up all of our notes that we have here.
Yeah.
friendly way of cutting me off. That was deep.
That's all right, Leon. I
Yeah.
want to go through Bill's notes. I want to know what he.
Oh,
Are we still
okay.
on page one?
Bill been.
No, I enjoy talking to you. That's great.
I want to go. I wanna know who's on page 7.
You're like me. You're interested. You
Yeah.
want to find out.
And I want to get there. And I want to know what's on Bill's
And this
notes.
is from 4 pages. Okay.
I'm trying to get through all of Bill's notes.
I think the thing that ties us all together is unconditional love. It makes it work.
Yeah.
Conditional love doesn't work because it divides. That's why you need a small community to make changes, because when it gets larger, you get differences of opinion with religion, with politics, and opinions, and then you get political parties, and then you get the bad mouthing and so on. And so this is the basic thing, and this is the first thing that I would emphasize is unconditional love. And a small community can have a restaurant, it can have a store, it can have music room for performances. For all this can be done locally, and local cooks can. Every community has people who can cook certain things really well, and I think they should be utilized locally. instead of just being wasted on one family, you know. But one of the things I came up with was the idea of working, actually working in the community. You need, what's really important, you need a group of people who know how to work together. So when you're building a house or rehabilitating a house, you need a group of people working together to get it done quickly. If it's just one, that's one of the problems that we have with modern life is everybody seems to want their own house and they want it by themselves. But how do you repair a house that is a hundred different repairs by yourself? You know, it's unworkable. But when you got a community of people that can take care of it quickly, you know, you can keep up with it.
Like the Amish.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you have, you know, that they have the skills. They develop the skills, and they keep the skills in the community. You know, as other people leave, they teach other people the community. So it's always there. And you also need somebody in there who knows how to manage money, so that you know the average person doesn't manage money very well.
Well, there you go with the division. That's going to divide people money because somebody going to deserve.
Yeah, but with a small group of people, you can handle it. See, that's the whole thing. It goes back to that small group of people.
But someone's this, Bill. It's like life is politics. Even with our own family, there's politics.
Yes.
There's someone who's the alpha mega or some
Yeah.
little low lonely mog at the bottom of the totem pole, or you got the middle Jan Brady type. You know
Yeah.
that you got all these
Mm-hmm.
going on here. So therefore, it's like, uh, it's. I'm not saying I love your dream. I love it but it's just the fact that without divisions within our culture itself, it's too many divisions. Sometimes it's just like do it from the heart without expecting money. Sometimes we expect too.
Yeah, you're
I'm
talking.
speaking personally.
Yeah.
I stopped doing it. I stopped expecting things because I just figure like, hey man, I'm gonna do it from the heart. And once I get that out the way, man, I don't care what come next. I've been blessed on a lot of occasions, not money wise, but just for the fact that some things I got.
You're talking about a larger community again.
Yeah, but things gonna spread, Bill. Things gonna spread.
But if
Once
it's a smaller group, you can
hmm
manage it. That's the thing.
exactly.
You know, it's
Now your
manageable.
ideal is to have like would you want to have like a big uh, political party, or you want to have like what is
Small
your
community group. A small
okay, and where
community
would you
group. That
start?
can be replicated a million times, but it takes one group, a small group of people, to
Okay,
make the change.
what's your ideal? What's your layout plan? You like got a schematic there.
No,
So
well,
what's your
the
let
idea
the people
is
know the schematic of your life. Of what we're
well, the
gonna do
idea
this.
is to persuade people to put in the work, to do the work, even though the money isn't up front. You can do the work. The interesting thing is, this is why there are recessions and depressions, because the jobs aren't there with the money up front, so people stop working and then
Okay.
everything falls
Mhm.
apart. But if people keep working, things will keep running. So, again, with a small group of people, you can do that. If they're working in the community, keeping up property and keeping things going, the money is going to come. And the idea is they'll get interest income that will come later.
A lot of people don't like to wait for money. Sometimes I used, I work for Labor Ready. I don't know, cause anyway, one thing about Labor Ready, they're gonna pay you for that day. So it's kind of like sometimes money in the hand. Man, I'm not trying to wait 2 weeks or a week for
Mhm.
my check. I want cash now, and sometimes it's good if you get an opportunity to make some money instantly.
Well, one of the things that, make this manageable is there are companies, both large and small, who you can enlist to help. So if you work with them, they can contribute some to this, to your pay for this. So it's you know, having companies that they're all companies want to do something for the community.
It's true.
So the idea is to make it work for both. So you can have a regular job and still get an income from your community work extra.
Like a side hustle.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the idea is to make it all work. Again, with a small group of people, you can do that.
Okay.
You got to make it work.
Now, have you ever done this before? Have you ever done this ever like in Chicago, or have you ever done anything similar?
No, because it, you know, life is busy. You're too
That's
busy
true.
to
That's
live your
true.
life.
You're right, Bill. Yes, sir.
It would be great if I was independently wealthy and could play around with this, but I
Uh-huh.
can't, you know.
Okay.
And a lot of this is developed as the years go by.
Okay.
You know, this is pretty recent, uh, this idea, but it came from a lifetime of work, you
Okay.
know, a lifetime of observation and experience, just like you're talking. I mean, I see a lot of myself in you, you know, you're always interested in learning and things, and that's the way I am, you know. So we got a lot in common.
Man, we got a lot of rivers under the bridge, people.
Yeah.
A lot of rivers over
Yeah.
what 30, 40 years. So people can't tell me, wisdom, Mr. Bill. I like you gotta get a bump, man. Or
Oh, sure.
dang, a lifetime you trying to leave me hanging in front of everybody, but that's cool. I'm used to it. But no, it's just good that we hear a perspective from someone. We love Bill.
Yeah.
Man, we love Bill. Bill, this is
Yeah.
our family. Bill is our producer.
There you go.
So man, Bill is our producer, our cameraman, our camera operator. So hey, y'all mess with Bill.
Hey, and
Don't mess with Bill.
It's all done one day at a time.
Yeah, don't
And
mess
don't
with
worry about anything.
You know
Don't
what?
worry about if you're doing the right thing, you don't have to worry. No
Words of
worries.
wisdom. Words of wisdom. Yeah.
You know,
So
the
what's your
birds don't worry, so why should we worry?
you got
Yeah.
now? What's your first attempt operation to get your
Well,
thing?
we're gonna get a small group of people together. I
Okay,
have
we
a
have to meet
friend.
up somewhere. You got a place we're gonna meet up? Talk to the people, man. This is your
Well,
idea.
we already discussed the library, meeting rooms. There are church
You didn't say anything
rooms.
about library.
Yeah, remember this is part 2 though, Leon. So we got to pick up from where we left off.
Where
on
did
part 1.
man? Who looked at part 2? I don't even remember part 2.
No,
This-
no,
this-
no.
this-
It
we
doesn't matter.
started-
We're starting new anyway.
We
So
we started part 1.
Yeah,
So the
we
first
talked about
first conversation.
But did we
was-
say a place that
yeah,
we was
we
gonna
said
meet?
it would be
So where it's gonna
down-
be at?
the downtown public library.
yeah,
When there's as we're making this conversation, into reality, we're saying if anybody's interested, contact
Yeah.
Bill,
Oh.
and then we can set a date, and then from that date start moving forward with implementing from the ideas that Bill is coming forward with to say, look,
yeah.
this sounds like something that you want to be a part of. You want to be a
Right,
groundbreaker.
exactly.
We are, we're doing something new. Bill, are doing something new. What do you say, trailblazers?
Trailblazer. That's
Yeah,
the one. we're doing.
creating an event. You said from lifetimes
Yes.
of not, research and experience. You
Mhm.
believe that this can benefit starting with small communities here locally in Kalamazoo, and if people like the ideal of what small groups are doing, it can be implemented and start branching out to more neighborhoods outside of the cities of Kalamazoo, outside of the state of Michigan, beyond,
Mm.
beyond. So, that's why we're kind of, like Bill, you're laying down the groundwork and kind of
Yeah.
creating a vision of what it can be. And this just starts off with some innovators who's willing to get their hands into it, that this is a good time in their life. They want to make change. They want to be a part of the love,
Mhm.
and they want to be a part of making something happen, like you said, in small groups,
Yeah.
and each group keep building upon themselves.
Well, we have to have a contact information.
Bill said he's going to add all of that as we're in the show. When people are watching this and airing this, it's going to be
Yeah, when it's put on YouTube, I'll put that in the.
captured.
Well, how about you mention it now, which is gonna say on YouTube for those who don't.
Do you have your website and
Or can you just say I'm Bill? Can you say the?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, right now I'm working with a lady who is using AI, artificial intelligence. She built her beautiful website, and it's functioning, and she's got a business going,
Okay.
and I'm gonna work with her to build it.
Mention her name.
Huh?
Can you mention her name?
She would like to stay anonymous.
Can you mention her name or
Yes,
the
Carrie
secret?
Bertrand.
Well, tell the police, man.
Well, I don't necessarily want to.
Well, don't. Okay, well,
She
I
would
can
like to
mention
remain.
my name.
She would
well,
like to
that was
remain
there. That's what we
anonymous for
interviewing
the
her.
moments.
I'm just saying that, like, you have a website, you have an email address, right?
I don't have a website. I have
No,
an
email
email.
address.
Yeah.
Well, can you mention your email address? Because I don't
Yes,
even know it.
WLINDEMANN at gmail.com.
You said what, William?
It's the
W-I-L.
first letter of my first name, William, is W, and then Lindemann, my
Oh, you guys got
last name.
Oh, you got Lindemann?
So it's just Lindemann with the W, the first letter of my first
Okay,
name.
you got a period? You got to
No,
put a period in front of it?
WLINDEMANN, no period. And then at gmail.com.
Oh, at who?
At gmail.com.
You talking really fast, Bill. You need to kind of.
Gmail. As in Google Mail. You've heard of Gmail.
Okay, so W Lindemann at gmail.com.
Yeah,
right?
and it should be put on the screen. I mean, in
Well,
future shows we'll.
Okay,
put
well,
that.
we're talking about now, but anyway. All
But
right.
that'll be in the YouTube video. All that.
Well, isn't this going to be on YouTube too?
Huh?
Isn't this going to be on YouTube?
Tomorrow
Oh,
or
well,
tonight. Yeah.
oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, I should have a lot of that in the next few days on YouTube. Yeah,
Mhm.
it should be on tonight because I'll download it.
All right then.
Yeah, but the idea is to get a small group of people in this community to work, keep working, and keep things repaired. That's the idea. You know, to keep a community running at full speed, you need all the little things done every day. You know, you need people to see that the kids are safe on the streets.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true
You
too.
know, you can walk any time of the day or night and not worry about things, and that can be done in a small group. And when you got another group next to it, and then another group next to that, then you get a
Cluster.
larger area. But they're made up of small groups of people, and that's how it works. And the idea is, if we put this into practice, there's no unemployment. You're always working. You work as much as you want to. You know, if you want to work a few hours a week, fine. If you want to work full time, great. So if you're laid off from your job or something happens, just keep working. You know,
Mhm.
that's the idea. And therefore, you won't fall into a recession. You know, that's the whole idea is people are always worried about jobs. I don't have a job. I can't find this.
Well,
Well, if you're working in your community, you always have a job.
people want that
And
money.
not only that, you're working with things that are immediately in your, that you use every day.
Is exactly, Bill.
Yeah.
But you know one thing, Bill, people always gonna want incentive. They always gonna want a gift or a reward for what their services are worth. So
Yeah.
therefore, a lot of people is not going to work for free or from the heart. So therefore, I think a great incentive will be to give people something for their work
Well, I have
rather than
some
just
of those. I said
a
I have
great
some of
job.
those ideas. I have some of those
A free
ideas.
ham sandwich from somewhere, some kind of benefit, some kind of reward for.
Well, that's pretty easy to do when you got a small community. You can.
Okay, Bill, you're right. You know,
But one of the things that I'm thinking of is if you have children, whether you're
Especially-
single or married, you could be a single parent. If you have children that are below younger, you have children, they can get paid a certain amount. Like if you're a baby born, they can get paid
if you're
a
what?
certain amount.
So if you're
You're-
what? You said if a baby
you're a
born.
parent and you have a baby, okay, that baby can get paid from the day it's born because of the fact that you're giving up income until later. You can also pay people that way too. so you can pay a child the day they're born. And as they get older, they assume responsibilities. They can do a little here, they can do a little there. So they take on those jobs early on in life, like taking care of their brothers and
Oh,
sisters,
okay.
and get paid for
There
it.
you go, Bill. All right, Bill.
Or
That's
looking out in the streets and letting them know when it's safe and so on.
okay.
Um,
I like that.
they're age appropriate things. When they're teenagers, they can do other things. And so they can make a little more money on their own. But they still get paid until they're adults, and then that money they've accumulated will stay with them as interest income for the rest of their lives.
Mhm.
The great thing about delaying your income until the interest comes is it keeps on paying for the rest of your life. So that's an incentive. And and that the jobs, the, the companies that will allow you to, when you work for them, they'll pay you part of that extra money will go into the community that's paid to you, that you can will become income that will continue paying for the rest of your life. So all this is, those are the things that I'll be putting out into a website and to statements that are easy to read and we can put online, and that's coming soon. So I'll be working with that. And that's one of the great things about artificial intelligence, AI, is you can do that quickly. Yeah, you can build it quickly. My friend has built this phenomenal looking website just using voice prompts.
Either using images.
Voice? No, she just describes the images. She did it in front of me. She made a couple of descriptive statements about what she wanted, and it, boom, a couple minutes later it came up. And she said, "Well, make this change here. Put a rainbow over here."
Are she make? I mean,
It was just by voice prompt. She didn't have to type
that
it
what I was
out.
saying? Just your voice?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Isn't that great? She
did she use
talks
the image of you?
she talks into her laptop.
No, did she use your image?
Oh, she used her own, but
Like
I
that?
could have used mine. Yeah.
Do you know who Max Headroom was?
Yes.
Okay, do you
It's much better than that. Now,
much better than Max
today.
Headroom?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, how can we see this, Bill? Where can we see this? How can we see this? Where are we seeing this?
Well, you would download Chat GPT and enroll in it,
Okay.
and
Okay, slow up. You said download Chat
GPT. That's one of the AI.
GPT.
I think it's called Chat GPT. Yeah.
Have you heard about this before?
Yes,
Huh?
yes, I have. I mean, but I work in the. I have to stay pretty current and
You
everything.
talking really low, by the way. I can
But
barely
people
hear
can hear me in the microphone.
because you know damn well you don't talk that damn low.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You heard about this what Bill was talking about?
no, I was still waiting on Bill to tell me more about his
Yeah.
what he got going on.
He is talking about what he's going on.
Yes, Chat GPT, and you sign in. And
No,
you
no.
sign in, and you pick something like a picture.
He'll show you after the camera. He'll show
And
you off
Trying to
camera.
rush me off from Bill, man.
No, but I want him. We
Bill.
create an image. Okay.
All right, man.
You press create an image, and then you press the voice prompt, and you just describe what you want in the image.
Have you done this before yourself personally?
I did it with her a few days ago. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just simple. Anybody can do it.
All right. All right.
And it's miraculous how quickly it can be done. This is what AI does so well. When it first came out a couple of years ago, I had a friend who was from Colombia, and I was trying to show her ChatGPT. So I I I spoke into it, and I said, Describe to me, what is great about Columbia and why it would be a great place to visit. And my God, it wrote a whole thing in seconds. I mean, beautifully written out, punctuated, spelled correctly, grammatically correct. Amazing in seconds. So you can imagine what this can do to building a website.
Okay.
And she's done this, and so she's going to show me exactly how to do it. So I'll be having a website where I can. All you got to do is type in the URL, and there it is.
With your neighborhoods that you're discussing, I know that, so with your neighborhoods that you're discussing, a lot of people rent property. When we were growing up, most of the people in our neighborhood owned their homes. And there was a few renters, but majority were
Yeah,
homeowners.
yeah,
Where when you are a homeowner, there's a lot more commitment that you have to the neighborhood as well as to the community,
yes,
to your home, to the staying power. Now there's, even in my old community, my old neighborhood, there's very few people who own their houses anymore. A lot of people have sold, and now there are a lot of places that are being rented. So the people who own own pretty, I'm gonna say own that area of the community are not vested in
right,
to, other than they just take the money from the people who's paying the rent from there. There was something that was interesting, like, so happened it was a rapper, but that wasn't the thing that would impress me. Was he kind of went back to the grassroots of things, or kind of went backwards, was with the rent to own concept,
yes,
where people who are renting now have an opportunity to then own their home, which allow people to make a better commitment. They
right,
wouldn't have to have that feeling of, I'm gonna have to move every other year. They might do this, they might do something funny. Other than the people who own those properties making that commitment to the city to say, all right, you can live in this house, but once you pay it off, you now own it. That keeps people a lot more committed
yes,
to that versus just a lot of the revolving door of having to leave every so
yes,
often or
yes.
constantly moving. So how does that work with the plan you're kind of discussing right now?
This directly addresses that,
Okay.
absolutely directly. The idea is to have the group would purchase property
Okay.
as a group and fix it up and have it available for people to rent.
Okay.
You can also, as an individual, buy your own house and you can rent to own also. You're free to do anything you want. You can leave the organization whenever you want. All the money that you've made will stay with you for the rest of your life. It will never be taken away. But the idea is it makes it easier. Again, if whether you own your own home or whether you're the community owns the home and you're just living there at the time, there's a group of people that can keep it up
Mm.
and do it quickly.
You talking about like
With
the
all the
lawn care,
repairs that are
the
made,
maintenance, okay,
lawns,
the
everything,
maintenance. Okay.
landscaping, repairing rooms, replacing windows, on and on
Okay.
and on. The idea is a local group of people, and ideally you're involved, you're part of it. You've all had the image of the Amish that can raise a barn in one day. They all come together. That's the whole idea, is to do it quickly in the community and get it done. So, yeah, what you were saying is the disintegration of the neighborhoods. It's so much harder now to own a home. And the median age of people buying their first home is way up there, 30s and 40-year olds that can afford it. And that's insane. So this is needed.
So what is really sad that there's a lot of beautiful old homes in Kalamazoo
Exactly.
that's been condemned, and all they need is just a little TLC, some little maintenance to it, and you can renovate. I've seen so many houses that was condemned. It really broke my heart because these are some magnificent structures. These weren't houses; these were structures that meant to last forever and ever. My parents' house is 100 years old, so therefore it's still got life, life for life. And the houses that they just immediately just destroyed,
Mm.
it just clear a path and probably build some stupid parking lots and stuff. I would say that, man, it's sad that we can just they put houses for sale cheaply and just have people renovate them, almost like Habitat for Humanity. Edison neighborhood, they got a program that does little repairs for
Yeah,
houses
there are
too.
all kinds of people that are trying to do this, but I'm trying to wrap it up into one cohesive thing that really works well.
Okay.
Incidentally, when I used to years ago here at PMN, when I taped the Edison Block Watch, there was a couple, an old couple, that used to come to meetings. They lived on Washington Street, and that immediate neighborhood was going down fast. I mean, it was bad. It was gang activity and so on. But their house was so magnificent. The grounds, the flowers, it's just so magnificent.
Was this in front of Sugar Bowl? Where this house was located?
No, it was down the street,
Further-
about a block.
Further down, what, East Washington?
That would be east, yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think what house. Was it before you got to the curve?
I would have to, no, yeah, it was before the curve.
Okay,
Yes.
because I think I just remember a few.
It was just magnificent. And, they'd come to meetings, and that's so sad.
Are they still there, Bill?
Oh, they probably passed away.
Oh,
I
how long
haven't been
ago?
involved.
How long ago was
Oh,
this?
this is 20 years ago.
Oh, 20 years ago. Okay.
15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Um,
Did you know their names at least?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I could look it up.
Were you friends with them?
No, what happened is one week we met, the Block Watch met in their yard. That's how I saw how beautiful it was. It was absolutely awesome.
So they were.
And to think of, that what was going on around them was so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, there was really not much you could do about it.
Yeah.
And
So
this is why I'm coming up with this. 'Cause
Okay.
I want to do something about
okay.
it. I want to preserve these neighborhoods, these houses. It's just so sad to see
Mhm.
such a magnificent home. Just you knew what was going to happen when they left. I mean,
Yeah.
they were just going to.
When was the last time you been by that property? Was it so?
Oh,
Then again, was
10
somebody
years ago? I would say.
okay?
10.
Because sometimes people can keep the legacy of a house going
Well,
before.
I'd have to drive by and see.
Okay.
You know,
So this near the railroad tracks on the mount. I mean,
it was before the railroad tracks.
okay,
It was in the middle.
in the middle. Oh, in the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just on Washington yesterday, as a matter of fact, but I didn't go that far. I just went to the Sugar Bowl and turned on Mill Street. Didn't go further past Mill Street in Washington. But anyway, next time in the area, I want to see. Since you brought it up, I want to see has anyone kept the.
I'll look. I'll
Yeah.
drive by and look.
No, not. Okay. And by the way, what else is on our schematic, Mr. Bill?
Well, it's the idea is to not only build a small group of people who can do this, but to replicate it. It can be replicated anywhere in the world. You know, the problem is you got countries where people can't buy their own property or can't have organizations like this because they're government. What happened in the United States in the past year is frightening. You had this Homeland Security, this ICE group that was starting to buy huge warehouses all over the United
Were they
States.
really? What?
And the guy that was one of the people responsible for it, I can't think of his name, he was fired because what happened in Chicago was so egregious that he was fired. And since then, he's been going to white supremacist groups and Nazi groups. And he was part of Homeland Security.
Is this
And they were buying up big warehouses all over the country. And he said he wanted to put 1/3 of the population of the United States in these warehouses.
what
in
really?
plants.
Who is this guy, man? I know you got your phone. Who is he? So I don't know who this guy.
I
Who
mean,
is?
we have privatized prisons, so pretty much the
Well,
same.
that's true
Yeah,
too. But
you know.
And these are
we
all
need a
new.
name. There's
These
a
are all
name. It's good to
new.
have
I
a
would
name.
have to look it up. I can't do it right now
Okay.
because it would interfere with what I'm
Well, you're talking
doing.
about you said a guy, so someone
It
in
was
charge or
on.
something.
It was on.
Can you YouTube it?
Rachel Maddow's show was
Oh,
on
Rachel Maddow.
Monday. She
Okay.
mentioned him specifically in a segment
Okay.
on Monday's show. Rachel Maddow's show on
Okay.
Monday. He was on at 9 o'clock. So
Okay.
I can find it from
Well,
there.
I can find too. Since you mentioned
Okay.
Richard Madoff,
That was
Rachel
the
Madoff.
hour, but we can go on if you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. I would like for you to be able to finish your presentation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the idea is to make this little community self-sufficient, where everybody is working as much as they can handle, as much as they want, that live, pleasant lives, that the neighbors they deal with through the week are pleasant, that they have restaurants and stores that are in the shape they should be in, workable. They should have music that's, you know, everything that's should be pleasant in a working neighborhood. And this can be replicated, whether in an immediately adjacent area or anywhere else in a different city. Because you're working with a small group of people. And the idea is to push out all push out all the bullies and the gangsters and the wannabes. And the idea is, how can we help each other?
Well, what
Not bullying and making fun of people, but how can we help them? I mean, if I was a principal of a school and I found there were some bullies in the school, I'd say, okay, look, this is what you're going to do from now on. These people you're bullying, you go up to them, you're going to have to make peace with them, shake hands with them, and say, how can I help you? When you see them, how can I help you? And if you can't do that, move on, go to a different school because you're not going here. If I had that power, that's what should be done.
Well,
These
as
people should be out of those schools, out.
well, it's come from a dysfunctional
Because
family, Bill. First of all, they're not born. We're not born to hate and be
yeah,
bullies.
well, those come
We're
from
taught.
dysfunctional
We're
families. Yeah,
influence where
yeah,
we got a lot of influence that teaches that behavior, music, the media, the regular just people so interested in violence. The United States was based on violence, so therefore that was our whole concept.
yeah.
So therefore it's the fact that um it's something that
This is an attempt to change that, of
oh
course.
well I
Unconditional love.
it can happen. I mean, we don't have to
Yeah,
be like the other people
yeah,
who participate or influence or even enhance that or even promote it. Like I said, a lot of media. We got first of all, we got to look at the media and what's being fed to our children.
yeah,
Our children are not fed to a lot of positivity. We grew up on Bugs Bunny, Woody Woodpecker. We grew up on a lot of things that was not anger. We had fun. The music, everything was fun. So the thing
The
of it,
nice thing about the technology today is we can have our own TV shows and
and
our own.
you could pull up old things too from old things how we used to live, and it's historical. That's what I like about technology. You can pull up.
Well, when we put this on YouTube, anybody in the world can
Yeah, that's true
can
too.
watch it. And it's free.
Technology is good, but sometimes you have to
Well, we're
wait.
going to
It
use
could
it.
be a double-edged sword
We're going to
sometimes.
use it for good.
There you go, my
That's for
man,
good.
Mr. Bill.
We're going to use it for good.
Clap of love,
That's for
man.
sure. Yeah. So the idea is to replicate these communities
Mm-hmm.
and to have more and more people realize, we don't have to fight
You sure
wars.
don't.
We don't have to kill
Not
each other.
it's not that serious. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the idea is to build one locally and to replicate them. And the idea is to build a world where there's peace, people helping each other, not making fun of each other and putting each other down and running away from each other. I mean, I grew up with that in Chicago. you know.
Are you only
that's-
how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have a brother who just passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Sorry to
damn.
hear
Two,
that.
two sisters.
What's his name, man?
David.
Who?
David.
David.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace, David.
Yeah, he died happy. I mean,
That's good, man. How was he older than you or
he's
what?
4 years younger.
Oh.
Younger.
Yeah.
Okay. Your two sisters are still living?
Yeah.
Where they live?
Chicago suburbs.
Oh, do you still visit them?
Well, occasionally. Well, see, we visit by Zoom
Oh.
every month.
Oh, okay.
So we talk every month by Zoom.
Are you the oldest? What are you?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. Yeah.
You the what?
The oldest.
You the oldest? Okay, Bill.
And
All
my
right.
second sister is 2 years younger, and my third is 10 years younger.
Oh,
Look,
wow.
say can we say hi to them? What's their names?
Barbara and Marie.
Barbara and who?
Barbara Smith and Marie Lozano.
Hi, Barbara and Marie.
Yeah.
You know, and rest in peace, David. You know, and still representing. You should, you know, glad he lived a, you know.
Well, thank you.
Did he live in Chicago also?
Yeah. Well, he moved out here after I did and
Oh.
built a house.
In Kalamazoo?
Yeah, I met his second wife and built a house.
Oh.
They built a house together.
Deal. Okay, man. That's good. That's
It's a
good.
beautiful place.
That's
But
good.
again, because of his lung issues, needing oxygen, he had to move to Florida, which is about 2 years ago.
Well, you say he lived a happy life, and that's
Yes,
important, Bill.
yes.
That's
Yeah,
he was happy.
fulfilled.
That's very important, man, because
Fulfilled, yeah.
our time is only limited, people.
Okay.
Okay, it's only limited. So try to do your best. Less hate, plant more
We are
trees.
not limited. That's
Hmm?
our time is limited. We are not.
Ooh, whoa,
Just an observation.
whoa. Time
We're
is
unlimited.
limited. That was Bill. That was philosophical, brother.
That's right.
Time is limited, but we go ahead, Bill. The man on the mountain. That was some, you go on the mountain. That was some mountain type.
So from the mountain, I'm saying that we're going to develop this website very soon and start some meetings. Get going. You're both invited. So
Thank you.
yeah.
One of the things as we were driving that I kind of took in consideration for the city of Kalamazoo and like where is a good thought is thinking about where we talk about youth a lot, but really when we look at how Kalamazoo is maneuvering, they're not thinking about the youth. It's a lot of talk, but there's no actual real protection and consideration for our youth. As you see the things that are being done, there are things that are being done to make adult males happy. These are not things to say, oh, my 7-year-old me would like this. And as you see the cities being built, it doesn't have any of that consideration.
Mm.
And so I think that when people start making their plans, making decisions, deciding to be involved in something, think about tapping into their childhood, tapping into what like people act like they just woke up one day and they were 45.
Exactly.
Weren't.
That's
At
true.
one point in time, you were 11 years old
Yeah.
and you did the same thing that 11-year-olds still like to do today and let them have the same life that in the best versions of the same life that you had. When we start thinking about neighborhoods and community, like you said, having stores. I remember we grew up next to a store and a bar where we can literally go across the street, get ice cream and
Hey,
chips.
hi,
And
Mr.
yeah,
Palmore. Hey, Mr. Palmore. Rest in peace.
rest
And
in peace. And when we seen them tear it down, it was like
Yeah.
emotional because somebody decided to just come. It was just a piece of bricks to them. But to us, we literally sat outside and watched the bulldozers take away a part of
Ooh,
our
did I see
youth
that? Oh,
and our childhood and something that we wanted to be refurbished so that could keep going on so that the children in the neighborhood could know what it's like to be able to go down the street
to a
and
convenience store.
get an ice cream and have somebody who knew your name and somebody who could help you If you were
Exactly.
hungry to be able to
Exactly.
get what you needed to eat that day, you might need some eggs. You don't want to
Exactly.
go 4.5 miles to get eggs when you can get
Exactly.
eggs right locally. And you want to be able to, and then with who he was, if you got A's, he would like give you, back then $1 was a lot of money, $1 for
Mr. Paul Moore.
he would give you $1 for your A's. Some people, some of my friends in my neighborhoods racked up pretty good at conference time. Their parents may or may not been able to provide that, or they might have offered it, but Mr. Palmer also offered it in addition to what you were getting from your home, so that he can know that the whole community is advocating to see all of our children get those A's. We looked at the new refurbished Boys and Girls Club, and it's
That is horrible. Oh my goodness.
there's nowhere for the children to
That
frolic, and you can't play baseball and
they
kickball.
should have left Edison alone because the Boys and Girls Club was at Edison School.
That's the thing too. That's not only Boys and
They
Girls Club, but Edison School. Both
yes. Look,
have been rebuilt and done
it's
well. Is that
it-
right?
like we were talking earlier about me and Bill and I were talking about in the fitness studio how Edison was
Edison.
such a beautiful school. It had a lot of marble. I believe it was the Edison studio. It had a lot of marble built, glass, 2 floors, lots of window, a big pig. They had a playground in the
Right.
front and back.
And it was open to everybody.
It was open to everybody.
It's not gated.
It's not. It
off.
was no fence.
Yeah, you
There was
could
no
go-
fence. There were lots of trees there, and children used to hang their artwork in the front, in the entrance.
Yeah,
And then the funny thing, I like the fact that sometimes they have either they had a little speaker in the area when you first walked in, and it echoed a little speaker, but it'd be announcements.
yeah.
And it was just like a beautiful school, and it's they had an underground tornado shelter. I don't think this have a tornado shelter
Mhm.
because I was watching the process how they. Oh my goodness, it was heart wrenching because they tore down that. The school was perfect.
And that's
It had a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Isn't
It had a greenhouse,
Baseball field.
a baseball field, and a walking path, and there was trees within the walking path. They had a greenhouse. Remember the stainless
Oh,
the
that
stair, the
that,
stair.
on the other
I
hand,
love
was a
that. That's the stair.
hazard. I mean, and so what? And that kind of goes back to what I was saying is that when people are making the decisions, they're not thinking about when I was 11 years old, did I want to be cooped up inside of a facility that doesn't have a baseball field?
Yeah.
Did you have a baseball field when you were growing up in your neighborhood?
That's why I was
Like,
wondering how did this building even got built? Because
again,
I would have there would have been too many people
not,
disagreeing that whole
to say not
project.
taking into consideration
But that's what we got to do. We got to look into our
to think about as we're doing these things, put real consideration for our youth, put real consideration for our young people and what the things that we want them to still have exposure to. We grew up, Cape Pool was down the street. They were saying like how much it's going to cost for kids to be able to have a pass to go swimming, where it was like 75 cents and you can go swimming all day. Now you have to like, there are all of these things that these
rules and regulations for people to make money.
yeah, and
That's all it
I'm
is.
thinking about the fact that these are children, and when you were a child, unless you were born with the silver or
A
gold
lot of
spoon,
people weren't even born in Kalamazoo, Lena. First of all,
That
the Kalamazoo Commission, none of them were born in Kalamazoo. First of all, they don't know anything.
other
They just fake.
connection.
Y'all fake. And the fact that you stupid trying to build a two-way street on East Michigan, leave everything alone. You got all that millions of dollar investors building farms and plant some forests and nature reserve. They're making too much. Yeah, the bike lanes. Thank you for the unnecessary bike lanes. I have not seen one person on the bike lane.
Honestly, there was it's called
And not-
they're calling car accidents because people have to avoid not hitting them because they can't make a right turn because all of a sudden a bicycle came out of their blind spot.
And now these stupid fools want to turn that into a two-way street.
It's just that people are not taking in consideration.
Leave things alone. I think we should vote out, man.
Kalamazoo is not a big city.
Kalamazoo Commission need to go out.
Detroit.
Yep.
This is not Chicago.
It's not
This
it's not a metropolitan city.
This is not Lansing. People
Nope.
come to Kalamazoo for the slower pace.
Exactly.
They came for no traffic.
The
They
forests, the
came for
trees, and
children.
animals.
They came for kids being able to ride their bikes on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that was a whole thing. So we're making so many accommodations for adult men. They're not even doing this for women.
Yes.
They're not. The decisions are not being made for the best consideration for ladies and women. These considerations are only to accommodate men and adults. They're forgetting that they were once children
Yeah,
themselves, and the community the way it was doing
Balance.
good.
Yep.
And so we should just if it wasn't broke, it didn't need to be fixed. versus now the things that are they're breaking things to try to fix things, and our children are suffering for it because now they're getting less parks. Now they want to remove tennis courts, baseball fields. First of all, baseball is the American sport, so
So is
why would
football
okay, but we're
and
taking away
jogging
and we're
and
taking away
swing
tennis courts,
sets.
and we're taking the New Boys doesn't have a swing set, doesn't have an actual park. Like they don't. It's not even real grass. Like you can't even put your feet on there. You can't go
Yeah.
have a
No,
picnic.
Yeah.
You're taking so many things away from our young people that is disheartening.
it
And as
is.
you're saying about this neighborhoods, like as you're saying about
Uh-huh.
small neighborhoods and community, because we have to get back to when a neighborhood and a community and everybody fed one
Yeah,
another,
yeah.
watched out for each other,
Exactly.
Watched out for each other.
watched out for the elders, watched out
Yes.
for the seniors. We can't only focus on strong, able-bodied 45, 60,
Everybody.
55-year-old men who
Right.
don't need anything to be far as their protection unless they're disabled or a veteran or
Right.
something like that. Like we need to put our attention on taking care of our veterans and our disabled, our mentally,
Yes.
physically blind individuals, hearing impaired, and like supporting those things.
No
around-
veteran should not be paying for groceries or rent.
No, they should have their health care taken care.
Healthcare should be
Their
all that.
mental, whatever a veteran needs, you got
I
veterans.
think what we should do, we should learn from Canada or other European countries because we're the only ones.
You're right.
We're the only ones doing this
This
to our people.
ridiculous stuff to our people because
We're the only one doing this to people.
there's other countries where they say we
It-
put it out there that they stop
So-
deforestation. Okay, so at this point in time, like you mentioned about people had to flight, there's no more flights. Right now, these are the border boundary lines. If you are beyond this, you have to go back in city. You can't go. You can't tear down another
Mhm.
forest
Forest.
to leave your neighborhood anymore.
Yeah.
Nope, you have to. In other countries, they stop deforestation, so that means that if you don't like where you are, that means you can only
Move
come
it, get
inland.
us off.
Like you got to come inland. Like if you're building something, this is the last one. Nothing new can be deforested. No more trees can be taken down. You can remove. You can uproot a tree, relocate the tree, but
Yeah.
you cannot remove.
Or
a
be like
mature-
Japan.
a
Japan
mature-
build around the
Yeah,
tree. A lot of
exactly.
countries, man, build around the natural setting. And in Colorado, they building bridges,
Yeah, make it that.
natural bridges over as an underpass. So so the animals won't be disturbed or getting risk getting hit or getting.
Yeah, because we're upset at the animals, but yet we're taking
They
care
are
of their
upset. I'll keep me on.
habitats.
They're upset.
So those are so many. Those are some things that really going back
Well, we
to
could-
build. I think is what you're saying is getting back to the community and
Yeah.
that capacity, getting back to recycling, getting
Yes.
back
Recycling,
getting back
reuse.
to,
Yeah.
compost, and getting back to like you said, being able to have fruit trees.
It would be
in
good if everyone
neighborhoods,
had their own farm, their own little set of gardening, so they won't
Which is-
rely on
which is
the
what
big
Bill kind of-
corporations.
With a small group of people.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
well,
sounds like you were
share
kind of
and-
the people you were kind of mentioning that.
Yes.
That was a part of a part of what makes this possible because
Yeah.
it'll feed people. They'll be able, and then too planting more peach trees, apple trees, grape trees, different things like that, pear trees, trees that are gonna reproduce every year, strawberry bushes where
So
people.
where are we going to meet at to
Also,
discuss
I
this?
wanted to give a shout out to you, Arlena, because you ran for mayor
Yeah,
years ago as a write-in,
Yeah.
and that took courage.
Thank
That
you.
wasn't easy.
no.
I thought, boy, if I had to do that, wow, that's not easy.
And the thing of it is, we like to thank all the how many votes do we have?
From what we
You got
know.
my vote.
Thank you, man. It
Thank you,
was
ma'am.
from what we seen. It was 236.
And we're gonna have a barbecue for those who didn't vote for her and those who did vote for her. But anyways,
Yeah, and I ran.
and you can lie and say you vote for her when you come into our barbecue. Say you voted for her, get a free rib or barbecue or chicken or hot dog or something. You can lie to us. We don't care as long as you show up.
All right, politics, right?
It's all politics.
I mean, and when I ran. Not that it's non-bipartisan being in local government as far as mayor, but I ran as Green Party.
Yeah,
And that was one of
right.
the things that, I didn't run as Democrat, I didn't run as Republican, I ran as third party, which a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know much about third party. And I particularly chose Green Party
I like
as
the Green Party.
as what I tried to represent. So as if there's any words of wisdom, I would say as we looking into elections and different things like that moving forward, as far as small groups, do not underestimate the power of what you said a small group can do. If everybody decides to say, you know what, I'm not telling people I'm telling people consider third party. Consider there's like 6 or 7 different options of third party that people can choose from. If it aligns with your core values, consider voting for it. Don't feel the threat that if I give
Yes.
third party my vote that I'm washing. Well, a lot of times what I've seen is people are voting for what they don't want more than what they
Yeah.
do want.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then your vote isn't counting anyways. I believe that if you want to vote for something, vote for what you want and show the bigger masses that I'm going to take my vote from you and I'm going to give it to someone that I choose to, and they're going to get my vote. And if they like, if 3% of the population did that, if 15% of the population does that, if 30% of the population does that, when you're inside of that voting poll and that curtain is closed, that is your business what you vote for. You do not have to discuss what you voted for. You do not have to acknowledge, hey, you don't have to wear your color, you don't have to wear your hat or anything to say who you vote for when you go inside of there. So I would recommend people really not being afraid to consider voting third party if they're not like you.
Something different besides two choices.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who does not like. I don't like either. I do not like the Republican and I do not like Democrat. So therefore, I'm just as neutral. The Green Party, I have to look more information in it because
Because I actually know when I
I like the name. If it represent plants and growing the world and forestation, bringing back the buffalo and ghost dancing. Yeah, Green Party. I like it.
If I put my personal out there, the last 2 elections, I did vote Green Party.
Yeah.
Bill Stein and
Two parties.
Done that many
Two
times.
parties. That's all we got.
I hear people are debating, oh, Democrat this, oh, Republican this. I gave Jill Stein a vote. You know, like I voted Green Party and I was like, let that two fight.
Yes, I
and
voted for Green Party.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of times people don't discuss it. People are not aware of it. And there was there was one state election where the third party got more than both the Democrats and Republicans. And if you do that, like you said, it's
Where was this at?
I put it on my Facebook page. I want to say it was like in Colorado or something. Like, don't quote me, but I was like, look at that. You seen that the third party outperformed both the Democrats and Republicans, and they got the majority of the vote. And I said, if we do that as a community, as a culture, as a country, we will then make the change because either we'll find out that they're all lying and this is all a game and we don't need to even waste our time voting, or our vote will matter. Like one of those two will happen if you take your vote out of those two fights. If it's between these two and I put my vote over here and you still win and the majority didn't, then that why are we all wasting our time? Then we literally are in Europe where it's a king, and if that and that's the place, then stop getting us to come out in the rain and the cold and come out and vote in November. If I'm coming out and giving my vote, then I want it to count. So
It's really unfortunate the fact that we have to use machines at ballots. You can alter machines. It's all like a big computer.
I mean, but that's why I say, imagine if everybody decides to vote third party.
I'm just saying, like, write in vote.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
that was a little hard for people because I think that I may have lost some of my votes if you didn't spell my name perfectly. Like you help by, helping people know like exactly how to spell my name. Because if you would have put an E versus an A, then I would have lost their count.
Well,
what do you mean E in front?
Like because Arlene is a common name. Arlena is not. So if they spelled my name wrong in any capacity,
Like Arlene, you talking about like Arlene?
Yeah, if they put Arlene versus Arlene,
That wouldn't have count. That wouldn't have count.
It wouldn't have count.
What about I use your last name?
Right, but I have an easy last name. Some people got very complicated last names,
Well, your last name is easy.
My last name is easy, but I am not necessarily. I'm not that. If you're looking at doing writing, you might have somebody with 11-letter last name, and if you're one letter off, then that name won't count.
Really?
Yeah, is that particular? Because people want to win by any means necessary. People lie, cheat, and steal to win. They don't necessarily have the best interest. They don't really look at it, may the best man win. Yeah. They look at it like, I'll cheat to win because I want it so bad.
Or woman.
So that's how so the mentality of it is sometimes not in the right, don't have the right intentions. Like people cheat. People cheat to win versus really just having respect. Like people don't have respect that, may the best person win. So that's where you kind of have a problem at. And I think those behaviors are taught starting early in life. Yeah. Those are things that you're supposed to be taught when you're 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years old. And some young people are not being taught that at all. Yeah. They might even be being taught to lie, to cheat, to steal, to manipulate, to con, at an early age. And so they grow up to become master manipulators in the process. And thus where we have adults who are master manipulators, they're greedy, they're self-serving, they idolize themselves, they idolize money versus thinking about when you leave this earth, what's going to be your legacy you leave behind. If you're looking at me today, I'm in all black because I went to a funeral.
Yeah.
You know, I had a client of mine.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
Let's get him rush shot. There you go.
All
Give
right,
it some
so,
love.
you know,
We got the same hat, by the way. That's
Mr. Curtis
Mr.
Smith.
Curtis.
And so God bless him and his family. But it also goes with you have a legacy in the name that you
Leave a
leave
good legacy.
behind. And how are you going to be remembered? In Mr. Curtis' case,
He was born in Money, Mississippi,
Money,
and that's
Mississippi.
where Emmett Till was from.
I learned
Of,
something new.
of all places, and that's a very, very small town.
And I'm sure he was very familiar with that story
Oh,
while he was
yes.
growing up because of the years he was
Oh, yes.
of his at least I don't know, but everybody know about Emmett Till, but I know that
Yeah.
he definitely must have connected with it at that time.
Money, Mississippi.
And so I say that to say, you know, when you leave this earth, how did you leave it better? Is there a
Yeah.
park now because of you? Is air cleaner because of you? Is there less pollution in earth because of you? How many young people
Are there
did
more
you
trees? Are there more?
yeah, how
Yeah.
many people did you make smile
Plant.
in your lifetime? How
Mhm.
many stories will people tell about you and they can have they're elated when they mention you, you know, or they say, you know, because of you, because of him. I remember my dad passed. People were like, because of your dad, so many people were able to migrate from Mississippi
Yes.
and from the south to the north because of our father. And
Charlie C.
Charlie C. Jones Sr. And so that's one of the things that like the name that you leave behind matters. And so many people are like, they only live for the day and they only live for
Yes.
the money and the
For
power. Like,
themselves. They living for themselves.
and
They selfish and they I think conceited. I think it's basically if you can't live for you have to of course you gotta take care of yourself. But it's also good to share your own personal magic and
yeah,
spirituality. If it's good to you, share it.
yeah,
I can go on and on about records. Some of the songs I listen to, they express this. This goes out to Foster Silvers who passed and People Bryson who
yeah.
passed. Into Rob Bass and oh my goodness, too many people are passing our soul musicians that were anyway. Respect for them and thank you for the beautiful love and music. Keep your legacies going on and on. Leave a great legacy so people can talk about you like Mozart and the great Zulu and Shaka Zulu and keep Malcolm X. We got to keep their knowledge and their philosophy going, man, because it's like that's why I think we lost contact of how these people wanted a simple life. We didn't want all this
Like
anger and blah blah. Bob Marley, I mean, Megger Evans. Come on, man. We just want a simple life,
I mean,
but sometimes people want to complicate it by they want to
making
complicate
everything about capitalism, and
or
I'm not.
politics or
I'm not.
racism or some other stupid unnecessary we do not need it. We keep it. I think the Bill. I like you, Bill. I love you, Bill, because Bill keeping it nice and simple. Bill ain't trying to interfere all that other static, and it is static. And we do not want any more stress because that's make you older. It makes your health. It makes your which camera is it, Bill? This one.
Yeah.
Health. You better take care of your health, people. And you keep being stressful and hateful. That's gonna deteriorate your life, and
Yeah.
you're gonna die of this heart attack, stroke, aneurysm, or all kind of huh?
And lonely,
Lonely?
and they're gonna die lonely. If
Oh
you
yeah,
don't-
you're gonna die lonely. Oh,
you're
definitely.
you're gonna end
Shit.
up being lonely. The people who are only in your life are only people
Miserable.
that you have to pay to be there.
Miserable.
But there's people who, if you show love in your last
Duh.
days, if as you're going through this, there's people who are there because of the love that they have for you, and there's no money that you could pay them to not come. There's no money you could pay them to not be there because they want to do it as a gift back to you because they have the health and strength to be able to be there. And they, even when we talk about Mr. Carter, they said his family was by his side along the way. But Mr. Carter shared that love and it came back. They were like, along this time with him, as I was sitting through the funeral, they were saying his family was by his side. And you know, I can believe that because Mr. Curtis was about love from when I met him. You know, love and family.
How long you known him though?
I when I say probably close to 10 years.
You know him that long ago?
Yeah, because he was when I went in insurance, I inherited him as a client. And when I sat down to meet him, it just was a needed respect and a consideration. And I got a chance to meet a lot of the people that he spoke to me about at the funeral today.
Yeah.
And I understood people love Mr. Curtis because Mr. Curtis share love. In order to give love, you have to give love to get love. Like that's the one thing. Like there's no price you can pay for it. You have to give it to get it. And so one of the things, Leon, as we kind of was discussing a little earlier, and Bill, you and I kind of agreed is people say what they want to say about religion or not religion, but I looked at the Quakers and I know not all Quakers, but the philosophy of Quakers, again, I always kind of reiterate that because they talk about just doing the right thing. God is in everybody.
Yeah.
And just kind of like living harmoniously amongst everybody because a doctor, from my understanding about Quakers, and I'm not going to say that I'm a Quaker, professor, but a doctor lived next door to a person who picks up the trash, like for the garbage company, because that's not what it's about. They're a doctor because their assignment is to be a doctor. But if you are a trash collector, then they look at that as being the same jobs. They don't look at one being more important than the others. And so we really look at how that philosophy and that psychology works. Then you remove what capitalism is really all about, which takes away that I have to have more greed, greed, greed. I'm not going to say that capitalism is all totally bad because because you want to keep evolving and you want to keep growing and you want to keep enterprising. I don't, by all means, God bless the Quakers, but I also like that I have air conditioning and electricity, and I like that I have a
Comfort.
phone and different things like, yeah, like
Comfort.
I do. So I'm not gonna be like absolutely not. I do enjoy some of the things that I have in my life. I love being able to FaceTime my family, see my mother when I'm out here. So I wouldn't want that to go away, but I definitely think that we should be respectful of how fast we're moving and how fast we're doing things and have a balance. Like on a scale, you don't want
How we
scales to
treat
be
each other.
you want scales to
We
be
don't have to treat each other all mean and everything. We could be
you
less.
you don't, Bill
It's
was
not
mentioning like
necessary,
you
man.
don't have people don't have to have
Mm.
hatred
No.
for anything, friends are friends. You don't care what color your friend is, you want your friend. You don't care if your friend's a man or woman, you just want them to be your friend.
Yes.
So that's what matters. You don't care if you're, that's what's important to you. You want your
Straight
neighbors to
from
be
the heart.
your neighbors. You want your
Right.
neighbor to be somebody that not just that if I need a cup of sugar, but I'm just happy when I walk by and see you, going across the street.
Yeah.
Neighbors sometimes help each other along the way and really getting back to that for the safety of communities, respectful of each other's children. Helping each other when someone comes home from the hospital, helping someone when someone had a newborn baby, and making sure that we're supporting mothers who just had a baby, helping mothers when they're going through being pregnant. Hey, let's take a walk together. I remember I had a neighbor who walked with me. Our dogs, me and my neighbor had a dog. I was pregnant. Me, her, and our dogs took walks every day. Neighbors are important. Children being able to grow. Me and my best friend grew up since 3 years old. That friendship
Tyra.
lasts forever. Tyra,
Can you say your name?
I
Tyra.
love Tyra. So that friendship is still 40 odd years
Yeah.
later. So you have to remember that these things are valuable.
Yes.
And let's get back to what that means. And like you said, it doesn't have to be broken by age, race, religion, or any other thing that can separate it. How big your house is versus how big mine is. Like, well, there's a lot of love in this little bitty house.
Duh.
And so in that big house, inside that big house, can you adopt some children or offer a home to the homeless or offer some of those rooms for rent so that now on that side of that big house, you now allow that big house to be a blessing to someone that you can now help. And you're going to feel good about yourself later for doing it.
We
And
show
people
more compassion.
and
Lane.
people
It's all about
respecting the help that they receive. You don't have to, because someone helped you, take advantage of them. No, be grateful for the gift that was given so that people can continually do this. And what they say, do unto others as you would have others to do unto you. And how about let's try that.
Exactly. Yes. Well, what's happened, what you described in Kalamazoo is happening all over.
Yeah, and that's the sad
I
part.
mean, Jenna Lena mentioned that in Benton Harbor, where she grew up, the same thing. They're trying to fix it up, and it's just not working. So there has to be a better way.
It's
And there
gonna
is
take
a
a group.
better
It's gonna
way.
take a
Yeah.
group effort, but so we could talk all day about it, but until we show some action, that's gonna really gonna show the result in effect. We could talk all day and all night what we should do, want to do, but sometimes you just have to do it without expecting any form of notification or without any recognition.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I guess we should stop talking and do it.
Yeah. Let's say so as we contact you, Bill.
Yeah.
yeah, we got
now that we got the groundwork and the right
The
people who are
foundation, the
going to-
groundwork, that's important.
Yeah.
the right
We can start building and blossoming from the seed, build on. And I like the seeds you planted, Bill. My man, Mr. Bill.
yeah.
There you go. There you go. Great.
Thank you for your research and
Thank
putting
you.
this together.
Thank you for
Um,
hosting. Thank you.
Is the show over with, or are we still going on?
Yeah, I think that
No,
we
I
can.
can just stop. I'll go
I'm
and
at-
stop it.
Hold on.
All right, well, let's say our last goodbyes
All
before
right.
we time out. We got
How
1
many
minute.
minutes we got?
We got 45 seconds to go. So, Leon,
Bill, go first.
Bill,
Bill,
go first. Leon,
45 seconds. Dividing 45 times 3 is what?
come on, Leon. Let's go, Bill.
15. Okay.
15?
Thanks. I had a wonderful time.
Okay.
It's really encouraging, and I'm heartened, and I'm really grateful for your support. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Go ahead,
No,
man.
Leon, I'm gonna end it out.
Thank you for watching our show. Love you forever. Meet some new friends. Plant something every day.